The home heating oil industry is the nation's largest provider of heat for residences from coast to coast. It's an industry that is known for its high quality of service. It's also an industry that has made great leaps forward recently in combustion technology and in assuring the cleanliness of its fuels. Now, thanks to a new program created by a company called Boston Environmental, which is located here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, they have an opportunity to improve their high quality of standards with regard to fuel tank replacement. We learned about this program from the president of Boston Environmental. His name is Mike Hatch. Why do you think this is such a success? Any idea?
The TankSure program really provides several benefits. It's a great way to market their brand because it's bringing a higher level of service quality in an industry that already has very high service quality. In fact, it's a hallmark of this industry. So we're really offering an additional component, a needed component, to what is already out there. So this really allows a retail supplier to enhance his service offering, market his brand better, bring some real additional value to his customer, the homeowner, and at the end of the day, it changes the dynamic with respect to how the tanks get replaced, and certainly a proactive tank replacement program is the best alternative.
What's been the general reaction from the oil providers that you've approached with this program?
Our customers, retail suppliers, are very enthusiastic about the program. At the homeowner level, they're buying it like crazy. And we're right on track to meet our projections. We expect to have 1 million homeowners on this program sometime in 2005.
Michael, what is your role with the company?
Is to get the TankSure program up and running as far as the computer and the IT, information technology aspect goes. Boston Environmental realized they were making individual measurements on tanks, and they needed to correlate that somehow and make it give them a business edge and a forecasting tool to forecast when the tanks need replacing. And that provides a whole range of challenges. It provides a challenge of getting information in. It needs to be centrally stored, cleaned, and have good quality, worthwhile analysis.
This is the TankSure tank analysis software program, and the process of systems development was lengthy and somewhat complicated, but one of our objectives was to make it easy to implement and simple to use. I'm going to go to our data trend report. This is the main part of the program. Clicking on the data trend report brings up all the records in a dealer's tank portfolio by customer, and the program automatically sorts the data by tanks that should be replaced. Over here you can see the flags. And the tanks are ranked in order of the worst tanks based upon the test scores and the analysis to the best. Let's take a look at the algorithms here. YOP is years on program. ILTS is the initial low test score using the ultrasonic testing equipment. That benchmarks that particular tank and stays with the tank forever. The CLTS is the current low test score. That score may change over time as the tank gets tested every year, and in this case you can see the score has drifted down, which in turn creates a degradation profile index. That's a trend analysis for each individual tank on the system, which measures both the distance and velocity that the tank is degrading. The IRS is the individual replacement score for that particular tank. It takes into consideration not only the test scores, but also the environment the tank is in. For example, is it inside the home or outside the home? Is it in a wet basement versus a dry basement? It also takes into consideration physical characteristics of the tank. Is it a 12 gauge or a 14 gauge, for example? And it also takes into consideration liability aspects. For example, is it in a finished basement versus a non-finished basement? Is it on a dirt floor basement versus a cement floor basement, and so forth. The replace category indicates those tanks that should be replaced and those tanks that are close to being in need of replacement. I'm going to change selections here and demonstrate how easy it is to look at various sort capabilities of the system. For example, I'm going to go up and click on seasonal residents, and the system will bring up only those homes that are seasonal. Out of this database of about 500, you can see here there's 18 homes that are seasonal, one's flagged for replacement, but it provides management with the ability to look at these for the first time cataloged in one place, and to be able to go in and look at any of these, the background information. This is a tool that provides management with the ability to take action, to assimilate information and to use it in an appropriate way. In this case, this is probably a tank that, based upon these circumstances, we would like to proactively replace, even though it has not been flagged by the system. It is within what we would call a special considerations category. I'm going to change selections. Again, the data can be sorted in a variety of multiple ways. For example, let's say we wanted to look at our seasonal homes with tanks on a dirt floor. We could look at these, and again, one happens to be flagged, but provides the ability for a service manager to go in, look at the data, instruct the technicians appropriately based upon the data that's provided, and to take those actions accordingly. The software analysis system and database management process, the overall TankSure program, has been a big hit with real estate agents. We've found that when real estate agents realize that there's a methodology to test the tanks, they essentially want it as part of the closing process for every real estate transaction that they conduct.
Can this program actually reduce an oil provider's environmental liability?
Yes, the TankSure program can reduce a fuel oil dealer's environmental liability, and it does this in a number of ways. First, as I've discussed, use of the Boston Environmental Standard contract forms provide important protection to fuel oil dealers, particularly in terms of environmental impairment exposure. Secondly, the TankSure program requires the fuel oil dealer's technician to actually go into the basement and inspect the fuel oil tank visually, and this provides important information to the oil company, particularly with respect to new customer tanks, with respect to materials of construction of the tank's general condition, the feed lines, the vent lines, and so forth. And this information allows a fuel oil dealer to avoid filling a tank that may be structurally unsound, either by overpressurizing it or by filling a tank that may not have sufficient venting. Third, the TankSure program also requires that the technician conduct an ultrasonic tank test, and this information relates to the thickness of the steel in the tank. Over time, the tank test information will provide the fuel oil dealer with information that it needs to identify tanks that need to be replaced before they fail and before a leak occurs. So when you take these three components of the TankSure program together, they will minimize and in most cases eliminate a dealer's environmental liability.
The inside story on Boston Environmental's unique program. I'm Doug Llewellyn reporting from Portsmouth, New Hampshire.